And they're worthless for hunting. They're not good for anything except, well, the only thing that I found it good for was cutting down trees and blasting the backs out of cactus.
Well, I think the whole situation with guns, period. I mean, there was a time in history where 99% of people that were alive had some kind of a weapon at their disposal because that's what you needed to survive.
Right.
Welcome, guys, to the live feed for YouTube. You got the pre-show going on. This is Bruce the Weathered Soul and Dougie the Weathered Soul. Say hi, guys. How you doing?
Hi, guys. Back at ya.
Hey, so if you're looking at us live on YouTube, you can definitely go into the chat and start chatting. I got the chat box up tonight, and just glad you're here. And we're just going to keep going with what we're going to talk about. We got lots of things to go. The name of the show tonight is the Fallout and the Aftermath is what the show is going to be called tonight. It's number 30 on the podcast site, and yeah, just some terrible stuff that happened. I want to thank you guys for entertaining me and downloading the podcast for the last couple of days. The YouTube feed had over 250 looks, something like that, and the podcast got over 100 or 120 downloads. So you guys were out there. I appreciate it. It was very much therapy to me, and I'll announce this the first of the show too. But me and Dougie are going to have a special, very, very, very special after show, and I've got some stuff to get off my chest, and so I will tell you how to get there to get to the after show, and how you can get all that exclusive content that nobody else gets on YouTube or nobody gets on the podcast site. So I mean, for a little small amount, you can have access to all of our good stuff, and
for a limited time, we'll let you access it twice for free.
That's right. But back to I know that you've been chomping at the bit to want to talk about the guns and stuff like that, and it's just like,
well, you know me, right? I firmly believe that Americans have the right to own guns,
right?
But I also believe that every amendment has caveats and stipulations, and there's nothing wrong with putting a few of them on the Second Amendment. And I've got to say, in my heart of hearts, our government has let us down by kowtowing to the arms industry and to the NRA. It's that simple.
Anytime.
Are all these lives worth $500 or $500,000 donation to your campaign? Because that's what it is. It's a price on life.
I'll have to agree with you on that, and I'll have to agree with you that any large lobby that tries to influence, well, there's no such thing as not influencing a politician to lean one way or the other. I mean, politicians are politicians; they're there to represent you. That's part of representation. However, I don't think it's a fair value of representation, because I don't think that you or me get the same ear as somebody who puts $50,000 or $500,000 in somebody's campaign box. So we're going to get into a lot of the Constitution on the after show. I mean, tonight, today we're just going to talk about healing and stuff. But I got guns. You asked me the question the other day. It's just like, I'll accept the fact that you have a gun if you accept the fact that your gun is made for killing. And I had this conversation with Mr. Drake, who hopefully someday will be back on the Weathered Soul podcast. Him and Big Ed, we've been missing them for a while.
Yeah, did I scare him off? It's not that bad, is it?
No, I don't think he scared you off. But I mean, there's a difference between,
I know, they're busy men.
There's a difference between libertarians and Republicans and Democrats, and it's just, how many people have called me a Republican, or how many people have called me a Democrat because I'm more center. So I could be called a moderate.
No, you don't get it.
Yeah,
The,
No,
the Republicans call you an asshole and the Democrats call you an asshole. Sorry.
exactly. But
That's how you're squeezed in the middle.
libertarians are just about freedom and liberty, and the way that Constitution was written, and what we agree with, because we don't hate government, we hate big government. And big government,
Right.
is the reason why you have everybody running around, able to. Well, you know what? Let's go to the fact. The guy bought the gun legally in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely legally. He's never had a problem with the cops. Never had a run-in. He was just a shy, just a quiet kid. From what I hear, I mean, I haven't, to tell you the truth, I have not really dove in with the news or anything, because I'm trying to really actually stay away from the news about this thing. So when I'm talking today about what we're going to talk about, during the podcast, it comes from here and in here, because, I went through something. But to me, the news of what I want to know about was what was in front of my eyes, and what did I hear in my ears, and what kind of information and misinformation was coming in through texts and stuff like that. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But big government is the reason why number one, the reason why we haven't done any type of like licensing regulations or something like that with guns. Now, I will be the first to agree with you that I think everybody should own guns. I think everybody should be able to conceal carry or carry out in the open. And you made an observation yesterday when we were talking about it would just be melee out there if everybody had a gun. Well, I disagree with that.
Well, you don't know. It could go either way.
Exactly. It could go either way. But you know what? When you're sitting there and you've got that gun pointed at somebody, it's hard. Let me tell you, it would be very hard for me to pull out a gun and shoot you, or even shoot somebody that's actually coming at me. I mean, in fear and in the adrenaline boost, you're going like, I need to survive here. That's a situation, but you don't have a lot of time. So are you pulling that trigger or are you not? And a lot of people have died because they had guns and the gun got taken away from them because they didn't fire that shot, that could have saved them. And then there's some that, that go out there and they'll shoot up a place. I mean, you just never know. But I think that if you have a population that, you don't know if that guy, I don't know if you're carrying a gun, but you could be. So I'm not going to whip my pistol out on you because I don't want to get shot. Or you're in a crowd like at the Garlic Festival. I mean, those are the things that.
Well, if you assume everybody has a gun, then when somebody threatens you, immediately you're going to shoot them because you think they have a gun.
No,
yes.
I don't think so.
And you probably miss.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah,
yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
I mean, you ever watch Clint Eastwood movies? Yeah. It's like he's the gunslinger and
yeah.
he's sitting there nice and calm, going pop, pop,
yeah.
pop, while everybody else is like flailing, the glasses breaking and windows breaking.
Talking about that,
you start talking and that's what I'm talking about.
Talking about shooting and stuff. I watched the Ballad of Buster Scruggs the other night.
They don't make movies like that anymore.
Oh no, they just don't. But that was actually a recent movie. So I mean, yeah, back to the gun lobby and the way the situation is like as libertarians are, as I am. I think I don't know if I'm more libertarian than you, but I'm a libertarian. I mean, I just feel that way. I can't side with the Democrats and I can't side with the Republicans. I don't like either one of their agendas, and I don't like their futures, and I don't like good 50% of the people that are serving in either party. I don't really like guys in my party either because they're all strung out. I mean, they're all in different ways. But if you're like just like I call myself a libertarian light, I guess. But I just want to be left alone, and I just want my government to serve the purpose that this government was set to serve. And the interpretations and stuff that we put upon some of the amendments is just beyond me how we've gotten that far, and it's so gray area now. And I think that interpretation, it was meant to be gray, but it was meant to be with sense. Yeah. And I think a lot of things got pushed through because of money. Because
absolutely,
lobbies like the NRA.
Yeah.
lobbies like Planned Parenthood, lobbies like
Yeah.
GM and Facebook
Absolutely.
and Google and all those guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so they're going to listen to them before they listen to us.
Right.
And then the big problem is that once these guys get elected into Congress and stuff, they don't listen to us either. I mean, so it's just like, there's a step on the way up, and it's impossible, dude. It's terrible now. I don't know what's going to take, man. I didn't watch the debate last night, but I listened to a lot of the comments and stuff that was going on with the debates, and it just sounded like
it was like 50.
That's my wife right there. She's
I think, I watched most of the debate, and it was like,
say hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. That's my lovely wife. She's going to be in the podcast tonight.
It was 50%. I'm better than you, and 50% you suck.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not where we want to be.
No.
And that's even what most of the talking heads are saying too. They're like trying to, like the I don't know, I want to call them the liberal media, but the left-sided talking heads are all saying that the Democrats have to unify and have one message and let the people decide who's the best one to take care of Trump and blah blah blah. But that's fucking stupid.
Well, we used to have one message before. It was just a little bit of difference between the Democrats and the Republican at one time, and now it's like way out there.
Right now, the difference between the Democrats are like what the difference between the two parties used to be, and the difference in the Republican Party is like what the difference of the two parties used to be.
Right.
I mean, there's the way right, and there's the middle right, and there's the left right.
I mean,
and
I don't ever
center right, and there's.
I don't remember ever being so fragmented like that, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's incredible, man. I just can't. I can't fathom it. Anyway, wow. So anyway, this is you pulled into the pre-show, and like I said, the chat room's open. So I've got my laptop in front of me, and I'm ready for the chat room. If you want to go to YouTube and look for the Weathered Soul podcast, and you can get in or go to my page and click the banner, or go to the Weathered Soul podcast, or at Bruce McGee at Facebook, or at Bruce the Weathered Soul on your Facebook page, and you can get to the Weathered Soul podcast page. And we're gonna get rolling here in about 3 minutes. And yeah, man, there's this. It's gonna be one of those shows, man. It was kind of a surreal whole week, dude. Oh, dude, work has been.
Yeah, I'm sure. And every day there's been,
man.
Every day in the editorials there's been things, and it's just it's just a sad situation, and unfortunately it's the boat we're in.
Yep.
It's the boat we're in. Yeah.
It's the boat that we cultured and babied and fed and everything else, and now we're reaping the soul of a preteen or a teenager, full-blown teenager right now.
Well, that's the thing too, right? You look at a lot of this stuff has been done by young people. The Vegas thing was a middle-aged guy, but a lot of these have been done by younger guys, and that there's developmental things going on in the brain, and maybe all it takes is that you have to wait till you're grown up before you can get a gun. And 18, and here's the problem: 18 isn't grown up, but 18 is old enough to join the army and go kill people.
Right. Now they're trying to.
So what can we do?
And they're trying to make that even younger. I mean, they're trying to get 16-year-olds to vote. So,
yeah,
go figure.
Right.
And I think they just came out with a resolution the other day that they were trying to pass through, that they're trying to lower the age of kids to be able to join the military down to 16. Also,
right.
That was just news a couple days ago. So we're gonna get the show rolling, and here we go. Welcome. Live from First Snow Production Studios in Gilroy, California. You've got Bruce McGee, Bruce the Weathered Soul, and Dougie the Weathered Soul. How you doing, Doug?
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm hanging tough.
We're hanging tough, man.
Yeah.
We're hanging tough,
Yeah.
and
I can't say I'm happy.
I'm sorry that we don't have a lot of woohoo and fanfare, but I thought I'd put in at least the intro music today. And you've got the Weathered Soul podcast, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys who come on the YouTube channel, and I'm floored. I posted a YouTube video on Monday that had to do with what I went through during the Garlic Festival. And if you're a Weathered Soul fan, you've already known what's going on. And if you don't, the podcast is out there on the Weathered Soul podcast.libsyn.com. You can go pick it up at any of your podcatchers on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, FM radio, and tune in. So you guys can go get that. It's one of those things that it's been a weird week for me, man. But we had a tremendous bunch of downloads on the podcast, and I'm sorry that you weren't here. I mean, but it's something that I had to do therapeutic wise. I mean, I would have loved to have you here at that time, but I just put it in front and I just let it out. And yeah,
it's pretty amazing. Like I said, I was sitting in my living room and I heard the shots, and I knew that they were gunshots. I can tell the difference.
Right.
You can. It's a distinct different than a firecracker. And as soon as I heard that, my heart dropped. At first, we hear gunshots all the time around here. People out in the hills and stuff.
Yeah.
So for the first half a second, it didn't really faze me, and then all of a sudden I realized, no, that wasn't good. And then all of the sirens started, and my heart dropped again. It was like you say, it was surreal, almost like an out of the body experience. Like, no, this is not happening.
It was unbelievably like that. I mean, well, first of all, my daughter was out on the festival grounds. I was inside.
Right.
And when the shots went off, first thing that came to my mind was that she was out there. She was supposed to be home already. She wasn't supposed to be. She wasn't supposed to be here, or at the
on the grounds. Yeah,
on the grounds. So it was a traumatic situation until she got there, and it was traumatic traumatic after it. So, I gave one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show. I almost told Dougie, when he called me or when I called him, however we got together this week, because we talk all the time anyway, that he was excited about doing the podcast, but I'd already cut one on Monday, and I was going like, I'm really thinking that I don't want to do a podcast this week. This is the one that's going to happen. But things change, and I hope I got some help. I mean, I was able to open up to a couple of people, and just tell them to shut up, sit down, and listen, and just listen. I just need to talk this. Just listen. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. Don't roll your eyes. Don't smile. Don't cry. Don't nothing. I'm going to do all that for you. So that's kind of what I did. I went, I had a heart to heart with my wife, and then I went to one of the counselors that I know, and sat in with him for a couple of minutes and just kind of laid it out on the line. So I was on the inside looking out. And I think we were before the pre-show. I was telling you that is that I really don't care I care about what happened. I care about who got hurt and who got shot. Everybody who was running away, and the stress and the psyche stuff. The families. Everybody involved. I mean, from law enforcement to the customers, from the vendors to the volunteers to everybody who's involved, man. It's a traumatic situation for everybody.
To the police officers who, immediately got right in the face of that firing rifle.
Right. Absolutely. Unlike they did at other places that we knew of before. And the point that I was trying to get at was I was inside looking out, and I've watched a little bit of the news since this has happened. Mostly I've just gotten press conferences. When the news that I listen to, excuse me, I just try to get the traffic in the the traffic in the
Yeah.
morning and the weather, and that's all I want. And then because I can't stand when I look in the TV and they're saying something about this tragedy or some other tragedy, or they're talking about Trump or whatever it is, and they got this big crinkly freaking forehead with this big stern look on their face, right? And then right as soon as they're done with that story, the Giants are freaking on a 10-game winning streak, and everybody smiles and everything like that. So I really look at this whole news thing as just a fucking big act, and it's it's killing me.
Yeah.
It's killing me inside.
Futurama has it down.
Yeah.
With the big monster.
Right.
12 puny humans died today in a airplane crash, and then the little girl was like, and the weather is going to be sunny today.
Yeah, and I just it's
Yeah.
So
Dude.
it's killing something inside of me that used to, like Walter Cronkite and some of those older guys that no matter how you thought about them, they were very, here's the news.
Right.
Here's the news.
Journalists.
Here's the news.
Not sensationalists.
Here's the news.
Right.
That's it.
They didn't have to leave you hanging so you'll come back after the next commercial break.
They didn't have to sell Coors and Budweiser and everything else. So I understand. Well, no, I don't understand.
And we've talked we talked a little bit before about what I saw watching the news and getting texts and everything else. I mean, the news was ridiculous. Yeah. It was all the way up from 5 people being shot, one of them a police officer, or killed, I should say. 5 people killed, one of them a police officer, back down to 3, 15 people, 17 people. The news anchors were like vultures circling a carcass. It was disgusting. I was screaming at the TV, like, leave the people alone. She already answered that question, and the field reporters are feeling it. They got like tears in their eyes. But the anchors are like, go ask him another question. Stick your mic. We got 5 minutes. We got to kill. It's like, Jesus. Yeah. It was that the news is going to be a production like something you see in a movie, as opposed to being what the people need to hear. Instead of waiting and getting accurate information, they just blurt out anything that came to mind.
Right. So if we could just a small cut right there and go one of these things. I wanted to set this up because I was inside and you were outside, and I was on the inside looking out. You were on the outside looking in. I want to know what you were doing at 5 o'clock, and just take me through, because if you don't mind, I want to interview you on what happened between the time
I was just putzing around the house,
between the time you heard the shots until the time, like I got home, like midnight. I want to know, because I don't know. It's a part of my life that's going to be missing for the rest of my life.
Well, we were all being told that there was a big search going on. Yeah. I was just sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yeah. What are you watching?
I don't remember. Something mindless.
So mindless. Okay, mindless Sunday stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I heard the shots and then the sirens, of course, and it was like every siren in the entire universe went off at the same time. I mean, really, it was like every police siren, every ambulance, every fire truck, every firehouse. They were coming from every direction, and it went on and on and on and on. And then, the news starts reporting crap, right? And then, they say that, for some reason they thought he had an accomplice or maybe more, and they hadn't withdrawn that statement at all the way up to midnight. The helicopter's still zinging all over. Helicopter passes over our house, and Abby's like, close all the windows and lock the doors. Just because the helicopter cruised over our house, like maybe he's heading this way. And they're talking about Uvis Creek and up and down the creek, and he's heading over this way. And it was just, all conjecture.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing. Mm-hmm. They had nothing.
Yeah.
But yet they were telling us stuff that we should be worried about. And then we had a few texts from you guys inside the fair, and they were pretty accurate, but but still, it was only what you could see and what you were told or what you could hear on the police radios.
Right. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that was my vantage point of being on the inside out, is that I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, and immediately they have, and I don't know how they get them so fast. I mean, these people probably weren't even out of the park yet, and they're already downloading their scrambled up videos of, running away and stuff. You really couldn't see anything.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of my take from everything that I saw on any video that's been posted out. And I've, like I said, I haven't really done a lot of research on things that are going on with the shooting, and but I've been seeing a lot of things that have been going on in the community. They've had a vigil, and right now, as we speak right now, they just started a vigil down at Fifth Street Live. So if you guys, get bored of this, get on down to Fifth Street Live. They're having a vigil down there. And I didn't hear about the first vigil, but I heard about this one. And then also the National Night Out that we're supposed to have next week has been canceled. They're going to move it forward to October 1st or something like that. And they were going to have some kind of another vigil for him then. But a lot of the law enforcement are going through the same things we're going through. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
They're the ones that had to pull the trigger. They're the ones that had to come across the people that were scared or injured or killed in some instances. And I'm telling you, this is, if you haven't been through it, I'm telling you right now, you don't want to go through it. I mean, it's been a rough 3 days, and I apologize to my not to my workmates, because I've been great to my workmates, but my bosses have been catching hell from me this week. And it's just, I get snappy and stuff. I just find myself being short, and I just, I'm one of those things I can feel.
Because it's one of those things that's frustrating, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it.
You can feel the depression.
Yeah.
You can feel the depression.
Yeah.
And, the couple of times that I went out and talked about it, I mean, that washes it away. Today, actually, what washed it away is I got busy.
Yeah, distraction always helps.
The distraction for being busy is a lot better than not being busy. So, when you, for me, it seemed like for the first half hour, 45 minutes or so, we were still on the floor when we heard the first news. Shots fired.
Nobody knew.
So it was probably like 6:15 when we started getting something, news wise or anything like even that was in before actually YouTube came on, and then there was, pretty much after that YouTube came out. What were you watching? What were you doing?
Well, we're watching the various news channels.
Yeah. Okay. You just flipping all of them just to see who's got what.
Well, yeah, just to see if anybody had anything new.
Yeah.
And to know, whether the situation was actually contained. Right. I mean,
that was my biggest fear.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty scary. And, I know that they're just trying to look out for best interest, and they're only going with the information that they had. But saying that there was another guy out on the loose
didn't make things any better.
It was really scary.
Yeah, it was really
scary.
Because
now there's some real desperate motherfucker out there.
Well, then we heard something that didn't come to fruition, but we heard that somebody opened up their door on Laurel Street and got shot. That was another piece of information, of crap information that was out there that was floating around. I don't know whether it was floating around on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but that came into nothing. And then there was some confrontation, I guess they had at Christopher High School, which, we heard something about that.
And that's why the helicopters flew over our house.
Yeah.
They're heading over that way just to see what's going on over there.
So that turned out to be a big zero.
Right.
So it's incredible the amount of what they were searching for and where they were going and how they were going about things, when I think that the way that I perceived the news by how I was getting it and how I was looking at it and texting with it, I noticed that the police officers and everything weren't scrambling around like that. They were busy freaking surrounding the whole freaking area. Nobody's getting out of there.
Yep.
Nobody's getting out of there. I'll tell you, from freaking 25 to up to to Gavilan College and 101 and all that stuff was being soon shut off and then very quickly because
they didn't want him getting up into the woods. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, like you said before, you just heard nothing but sirens and emergency vehicles just coming, and we heard the same thing for what seemed like an hour, 2 hours of constant.
Oh, longer, yeah.
I mean, just coming, just coming. I heard 5 counties came. I heard that it was incredible. It was incredible, but like I said, I was inside, and you were outside looking in. So.
I could only see what the news was giving me.
Yeah.
And they had a police helicopter one or two police helicopters, a police airplane. So the news helicopters weren't able to give us like an overhead visual, and then it got dark.
Right.
And then basically all that by that time, by this time, 7:00, the victims were all at the hospitals. The hospital spokeswoman is giving her stuff. There's these people here. There's these people here. There's these people here. And it's like, there's 10 news reporters out there. She reads this. And as soon as she's done reading, and one of them goes like, "So how many people are at St. Louis?" And she pulls up and goes, "There are 7 people at St. Louis." And then it's like, next one's like, "Oh yeah, how many people went to Good Sam, or to Valley Med?" And she's like, "There are 3 people at Valley Med." I mean, it's like, I just read this to you people. Were you too busy thinking of what you wanted to ask me and not listening? And then the anchor's like, "Go stick the microphone in the father's face again." And the lady's like, the news reporter, the field reporter, like tears in her eyes, like he already said that, and it was just so bad.
Yeah.
People
people under stress. Well, not the news, because news is never under stress.
No, they were in a feeding frenzy.
They were in a feeding frenzy. It's just
they were nuts. Yeah. Like when you throw food in your fish tank.
Yeah, the bubble-headed bleach blonde comes on at 5. She can tell you about the plane class with a gleam in her eye.
Yeah, well, that's what they get paid for. But
that's what they get paid for. Geez, dude. So what I was really interested in was okay, so I knew that the news was going to go that way. I knew the news was going to talk about what bleeds the most is going to freaking lead the most, and that's where they were going with their news.
Yep.
I was really interested about people that actually got out and just resumed their life without the impact of having to go get your car, or your car got freaking locked down for a week or something, like been a couple of days.
Yeah, it's still all shut down over there.
Yeah, so it's still all shut down, and they just barely let people in there today to go get some of their belongings, and so it's all under what they call the FBI is going to warehouse what they deem is evidence. You're not getting it back until they're done with it. And
so that would be anything with bullet holes.
And it must be 23 minutes into the podcast because.
Well, that's another thing I was curious too. When before we knew anything about this kid, it's like, did he drive here? Did somebody drop him off? I think he walked. I mean, they lived that close.
They said he found his car.
Oh, they found his car. Okay.
They found his car.
Well, that's true because
on the northeast end. So that's over by Christopher High School. So I'm figuring,
No, Gilroy High.
Gilroy High. Yeah, Gilroy High.
Northeast end?
Yeah, northeast end of the park.
Yeah, so that's over like where the overflow parking is for the baseball fields.
Right. So they can, apparently they found his car somewhere over there. I thought they found his car on the southeast end.
Right. So then he would have had to walk all the way up the creek or down 10th Street all the way to where they say he cut through the fence and came in.
See, he had to get across Silva's Crossing.
Yeah.
Undetected. With the what
in the middle of the day.
What did he have on him?
Just had some like dark khakis.
He must have hid the gun before then.
Possibly.
He couldn't have walked into there with a gun
over his shoulders
across Silver's Crossing.
Right, exactly. There's no way. How did he get from where he parked? Yeah. There's a tunnel, right? I mean, he could have crawled.
Right. Well, yeah, but there was water going through it. There's water going through that.
Yeah, and 10,000 people walking past it.
Right. So,
and then there's security guards at each intersection on each end, plus in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how did he get in there?
Yeah, it's mystery. right now it's a mystery. We'll learn about it because it was legit.
Yeah.
It was a legitimate act.
It could have been
this
like you
is
said,
no,
it could have been he had civilian clothes
this is
and
no
like a duffel bag and just
yeah.
walked right past him.
Right. This is no conspiracy because it did happen. It's just one of those things that that I just wanted to hear. But I was wanting to interesting to hear about those people that got away, out of there, and were inconvenienced, and because a lot of them, what happened was, from what I hear, is they went to their cars or they tried to make it to their cars, but by the time they got to their cars, the police had made a perimeter and they had locked down the cars. Now, I don't remember what time it was, but it had to be. It was getting dark, and that's when we heard that the FBI was on site,
because we usually park down on Miller and walk in.
Yeah.
Right. So most likely, if we had done that, our car would have been, we wouldn't have been able to get in our car and drive out because
Tom couldn't get home that night because he came home from down south and he lives right there around the corner from the park, and he couldn't get home. He dropped Jill off and he couldn't get home. He only lives like a block away. That's
right. So they wouldn't let him in. They wouldn't let him into his house.
Well, his backyard is that back sound fence on 10th Street. So
yeah,
he didn't get home that night. Anyway, so I was interested if there was any news about people that had got away. I mean, what was besides them being at them being at Gavilan? I mean, because that's where everybody was at Gavilan. They got busted Gavilan.
Right. The only after dark they had or about dusk they had a few reporters in the Garlic Festival or somewhere near the Garlic Festival, and they interviewed a few people that were on their way somewhere, but they didn't say where or how or what. But it was like one guy got a ricochet in his ankle, and it was just first aid. So he was walking home, and of course they asked him 3 times, so what happened to you? I got shot in the ankle. Oh, so what happened to you? I got shot in the ankle. So what happened?
So there was reporters following people out. And,
yeah. And he had first aid tape around his ankle, and they're like, oh no, what's your name? And then the guy's like, leave me alone.
We're going to come back to that. But hey, this is the Weathered Soul podcast, and I want to thank you guys for downloading the podcast and taking an interest in. I mean, you guys really put us on the charts just this last week with that one podcast night. And I hope you like this podcast and we keep it going. We are the Weathered Souls, me and Doug and Bruce the Weathered Soul, and there's Doug the Weathered Soul over there. Some of you know us and some of you don't. But you can get us at
those who don't are the lucky ones.
Those that don't are the lucky ones, that's for sure. Only Dougie can say that. Well, my computer is just so locked up. I'm just screwed here. There we go. So if you want to get onto the Facebook page, all you have to do is go to facebook.com, type in your little search engine there, Bruce the Weathered Soul, and it'll take you to the Weathered Soul podcast page. And that's where you can find out all the stuff that I post during the week, because I have been posting on my personal timeline this week, but I'm trying not to post on it for the rest of the week. And what we want to do is have you go there and join the fun. I mean, you can debate, you can post some stuff, whatever you want there. I'm a free speech kind of a guy, so I'm not gonna monitor your posts and tell you what you can and cannot do. So I mean, you can go as
within reason. I mean, you can't criticize.
You can't criticize.
You can state your opinion, but
yeah, don't call anybody names.
Yeah, there you go.
Nobody's rude. But anyway, that's one way you can get a hold of us, and another way that you can get a hold of us is go to our actual webpage, which is the Weathered Soul Podcast.libsyn.com, and that's where you can get the Weathered Soul podcast and Bruce for Liberty podcast and any podcast that First Note Productions is going to have coming up in the future, because I am looking for more podcasters. So you can get there at the Weathered Soul Podcast.libsyn.com. And hey, me and Dougie are getting ready to do an after show after we get done with this show, and you can get all that special content, that extra content that we do after the show, which is really what we think about the whole thing. Because this is all.
Yeah, we turn the camera off so you can't see us. we feel safer then.
We feel safer then. But you can get there, and if you just for as little as $1 a month, you can be my patron. You can be the Weathered Soul patron, And for $1, what you're going to get, let me make sure that that's true. So for $1, you are going to get the intern. You were in the door and your desire to learn outweighs your desire to miss out on a great bonus. You get free weekly video blurb and some personal insights that I do not post on Facebook for my patrons for this level. And like I said, for $1 a month, you can get in here and you can get all our after show, all my thoughts that I really don't share on Facebook and stuff because they like to censor me at times. And we'll be talking about censorship after the show too. And so, yeah, come to Patreon. That's www.patreon.com, the Weathered Soul Podcast. And you can get there and you can become a patron of mine. Also, we are trying to build this studio up, and that is going to take money.
Oh, don't forget to tell them to act fast because there's only 2,000 patrons left.
That's right. And I can't offer you anything for giving the Weathered Souls cash for their studio because it's a GoFundMe account. But we're looking for some cash. The studio is going to get built, whether or not I get funding or not. But I would love to be able to have you guys support the podcast. I will be doing some nice things for everybody. I mean, I'm a really nice guy. I really am. And I'm kind of down and out right now, but
how about buy Dougie a new chair?
buy Dougie a new chair. I mean, that's what we need. We went down a board the other day, so we're down a soundboard. We got to fix that one, and we got a couple other things.
Need some sheetrock.
Yeah, sheetrock and some walls would be nice. A little
reliable lighting,
a little better ambience and stuff. What I'm picturing is me and Dougie kind of like sitting on a couch around a coffee table, kind of like the Dick Cavett show or something.
Yeah, the big red couch. We can even have an ejector seat for our guests.
So if you go to GoFundMe.com. Weathered Soul Studio Upgrade, you can give us whatever amount of money you would like. I'd love to have all kinds of money for the studio, and then not a penny of it will go in our pocket for any kind of profit or anything. We will definitely be using it for the studio. I cannot wait for that to happen. It's going to start happening pretty soon. Right. And I just
once we start getting paid for this, we're going to have to act like professionals.
Yeah, one of these days we will get paid for it. And another way you can get a hold of me is just go to MeWe. mewe.com, which is the new Facebook. Well, it's not a new Facebook, but it's a new kind of Facebook interface, and I like it. It's a lot of free speech. There's a lot of stuff out there. Works about the same as Facebook does, but you don't get a lot of feedback unless you want feedback. They don't share your information. They're not selling it or anything, and they're just yet. So once they start getting into that, I'll be gone again. So. So you can get me on MeWe.com. Just go to Bruce McGee, and you will find me there. And one of these days, we'll get Dougie back on to interface with you, because I know you guys have tons of questions for Dougie. Our numbers soar when Dougie's on the podcast. So we've been doing.
I tell you, it's the comic relief.
Okay, so back to our healing and stuff that we want to do in this podcast. Is just like there's an aftermath that happens after I got home. Man, it's been tough to sleep, man. I've been tossing and turning. I mean, big time. It's really I've never kind of been in this situation before. But there's also the fallout. And like I've been telling you a little bit about the fallout, and that's been because of the mood. I think it's because the mood begats, or the lack of sleep begats the mood. I think that's kind of where it's at.
It kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah.
But there's a definite heaviness that's kind of just right over Gilroy right now, right over everybody I think that's involved. Just there's a heaviness, and
right. And we are so lucky because it could have been so much worse.
Well, yeah, it could have been a situation where, from what I understand from the news, the kid emptied a magazine and then he went to go put in another one. He went to go clip it in and it fell on the ground, and that was it for him. That's from what I hear. I don't know if that's a fact. But
see, he should have gotten an AR, not an AK.
But
fucking bad.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, how bad? It's like the kid wasn't even proficient in his weapon. He just wanted to Like you said, suicide by police.
Suicide by police. They were
It's
talking
like-
about that. They were talking about that.
Unbelievable.
And that's just it's man, I just don't know what it would have taken for that not to happen. I just don't think that you can prevent
Right, and
that
think
from
about
happening.
his family, how they must feel like
Oh,
they failed
absolutely.
him and
Absolutely.
failed
Absolutely.
us.
You know, they've got a lot of burden on themselves. I mean, the people that lost their family members, of course, they're going through a lot. But these people have to go through, number one, they lost a son, and number two, their son did this. And they're probably searching inside, going like, "What the hell did we do?"
Yeah, and where are we going to live now?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, really, I
that's-
couldn't
that's-
imagine.
Yeah, I couldn't
mean,
imagine either.
Because their address and picture of their house, all that shit's out.
Oh, that's the thing.
They got no privacy whatsoever.
The first thing that I saw when I saw that on the news that next morning, when they were there, the FBI was at the house. The first thing they did was pan up, and you saw Church Street. So you knew that you could get on Google Maps and go down.
And you know what was really sad or poignant to me, where the cat's sitting in the front yard, like kind of looking around, like, this isn't quite right. Where's my dinner? Whatever, like, yeah. I mean, because then I'm thinking, all right, so with all this commotion and everything, are the animals going to be taken care of?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot that way, but it's like it's true though. I mean, even the friggin' pets are affected.
Yeah. I'm sure all those sirens going off weren't pleasant for any of the dogs.
Oh God, the woo woo monster! Holy
the woo woo
shit.
monsters. I mean,
oh God!
How much? There's just a heaviness. There's just I can't explain it. I can. And I mean, even when I've had people or dogs die, a dog, that we had to put down or something like that, or somebody close to me that passed away. It's a way different feeling.
Yeah,
it's a hugely different feeling.
It is.
And to try
Sure.
I think that's what confuses me the most. I'm trying to process that feeling. I think everybody's trying to some degrees, everybody's trying to process their feeling that they've never felt before.
Well, it's kind of strange, but one of the reasons why I don't have a gun anymore, and I don't hunt anymore, and I don't fish anymore, is because I get that empathy of looking at the animal either dying or dead and thinking about the life that it had, and it really affects me now. And so thinking about these innocent people, especially the little boy, the little fucking boy.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know how anybody can do it. And I'm not sure if what it would take to live through that. It takes a lot of strength.
It's got to. I don't know what kind of mindset that is, man. I mean, some of the podcasts I listen to, there's a couple of them that they had the same guy on. I can't remember his name, but he wrote a book, and he says people just don't snap. There's not a snap that you're just normal one day and then you snap and go do something the next day. It's a culmination of things that are happening to you, and as you go through the motions, it's one of those things that just builds up, and then you just do.
And to get back to what I said before, also, you're at for the younger ones, your brain is changing. It's physically changing, which is changing your personality and everything else.
Too.
And
kids,
around 19, 20 years old, your schizophrenia can kick in, epilepsy, all sorts of things, because there's changes in your brain.
Yeah, you just never know. But the fact is that we got a couple of kids and a young man, 20 years old, that no longer have their lives. And they're snuffed out because they went to a festival to go have fun, man.
Right.
It's just
wow. And like we said before, that the reaction time of the police indicates that there was enough security.
There was definitely enough security.
I mean, we've always said it's overloaded with, you've got police on bicycles, you got police on foot, you got police on horses, so
the law enforcement that was there, that was incredible. So that makes it a little bit more unbelievable that even happened. But that's how fast it happened.
Right.
Now, whether or not you can say, okay, well, we were only allowed bolt action rifles. I mean, still they have, you could get off a bunch of rounds before the cops get to you. But I mean, with this AK-47 thing or whatever he had, they said AK-47 like thing. Yeah, definitely. Just I don't know how it doesn't happen again. I just don't.
And it's sad,
No matter what laws or anything. I mean, because they don't care.
Yeah. Well, listen.
If you don't care, you don't care. You'll do anything to get what you need to get a hold of, right?
Right. And that's the thing too. It's also it's in our culture, right? When I was 20 years old, I lived in Phoenix. I could go to Kmart. I could buy an AR-15, $215, 1,000 rounds of it's practice load ammo. It's not full load, right? But ammo, 1,000 rounds of ammo for $150, 100-round barrel clip for $50, a bipod for $50, and a crank actuator for $7.
Okay.
That was all legal and on the shelf at Kmart.
Did you go shoot up anybody?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Yeah, some cactus and a tree or two, and then it got boring.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I adored my guns until it was just like, oh, this is costing me a lot of money. Because it's still expensive to shoot your gun and stuff like that. But I mean, and I take all the precautions because I'm the only one out of my family who owns a gun or likes guns or and so I've got it under double lock and key.
and ammo separate and all that, right?
Yeah, all that. So I mean, if you're gonna come into my house, I'm gonna hit you with a bat first, and I'm really good at the bat. So don't worry about that. I played baseball for 25 years. I'm gonna beat you up with a bat.
Right. And then the second gun I owned was almost just as ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was a pistol grip, 18 and a quarter inch, pump action Mossberg. And it was like, I had no intention. I mean, I tried shooting skeet with it once and I almost broke my wrist. Right. But, that was a riot gun. That was just for like when Armageddon happened, like when the Russians came over the top of the North Pole, I'd have my gun to be able to play Indiana Jones with or whatever, and that, I sold it back to the dealer I bought it from.
Cool. So what were they? So let's get back to the news and what you saw on the news and stuff. So when they started going to Gavilan College and they started getting the people over in the reunification unit, was that where most of the stuff was coming from, or where was the news coming from?
I don't really know.
That you can notice.
Most of the news that I watched was coming from the hospitals and the hospital spokesperson and wherever they had the news conference with all the law enforcement officials. As far as they only had a few interviews of people exiting the festival.
Okay.
And it was mostly vendors. It was mostly vendors
that were exiting. Oh yeah, because all the vendors had no place to go. They either had hotels or they had cars.
Yeah. Well, some of them had nowhere to go during the shooting.
Well, some of them had their freaking motorhomes and they were staying in their motorhomes in the freaking parking lot. I mean, so that's Not only can you not go back to your motorhome, you don't have any of your stuff, and now you're just stuck. So, man, what a mess! What a freaking mess, man.
Yeah, and I don't want to make an editorial or anything, but I think that, God forbid we ever have to. Okay, but we do have disasters here. We have earthquakes, we have fires. We definitely need to be prepared for these types of things. We need like all the volunteers that work at the the volunteers that work for the festival, not the vendors, and need to be organized. If something happens, they need to have a safe spot or a relocation area like they have outside of office buildings. The circle with the number 7 in it.
I'm sure they had an emergency plan, and I'm sure that emergency plan went to fruition. Being at Gavilan, so I think that they had emergency plan set. So, but and in my estimation, by what I saw, I thought Gilroy did a pretty decent job at it. So I didn't. But I didn't hear any of the news about anybody like being stuck without a place to stay or what they were doing.
Well, they didn't make a big deal out of any of that sort of.
Well, you see, that's the news,
right?
That's the freaking news,
right? Because the city could have done something more to help accommodate them. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, all the hotel rooms were booked.
Right.
So-
Like I said, I don't know what they could have done. But
Open a building or something. The armory. I don't think the armory opened, so nobody was getting to the armory.
or if not on an individual basis, but maybe on a group basis, release some things like, okay, we know that nothing happened over on those 4 acres.
Right.
Everybody over there, go get your shit, get the hell out of
Yeah.
here. We don't want to see you again.
Right. Right. So to me, it seemed like that they were doing pretty good, and going. Like I said, I haven't been watching the news, man. I can't bring myself to get immersed in it. Other than a couple of minutes of a news conference.
Yeah, the Gilroy Dispatch is almost entirely editorials and stories about different facets of this tragedy.
Yeah.
Some of it's human stories. Some of it's technical. Some of it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's just opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the legal ramifications for what happened in this thing is going to be big news coming up too. It's just going to
always is. That's why they have insurance. I mean,
that's
why you have. That's.
It's a tough go around, man. So the whole thing is that I've got a feeling that that rodeo is going to have you're going to have 2 cops for every freaking 25 feet of.
Well, this is the thing that scares me. It's like I told you. I always joke with you guys when I was growing up. On when I was in high school, on the weekends, if we wanted to go have a keg party somewhere, we'd go to Newtown because it was a big town, 4,000 miles of roads, 1 cop on duty on the weekends. That's how peaceful and quiet it was. Now, Newtown's got a freaking tank. Okay? They've got an armored vehicle. They've got 35 cops. I mean, 35 cruisers. Who knows what size of their police station?
Right. Hold on a minute. I just turned on. I didn't want it to do that. There we go.
If you cut the delay down a little bit, maybe we get some good feedback going.
Maybe. I've been wanting to monitor the show, but
yeah. So and that's sad. It's because it's changed. It's changed the entire soul of Newtown.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen to us.
Yeah.
I hope we're able to get over this and say, you know what, we kicked ass. We're safe. This idiot got stopped in his friggin' tracks before he could do any more harm than he already did. And we're powerful. We're okay.
Yeah,
we're good.
Thank God that happened.
We can feel safe going to Safeway. We can feel safe going to, 5th Street or 6th Street, whatever, music festivals. We can feel safe going to the Garlic Festival. There's always a chance there's going to be an asshole out there.
Right.
But we know that we've got it down to where we're okay.
Well, like I said, I hope so because the rodeo is coming up in 2 weeks. I'm wondering if they've already canceled that National Night Out. I'm wondering if they're might not think about canceling that. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, if people are still mourning and they're not going to have a good time, then they should cancel it. Because then it's just like reminding them they should be out having a good time when they're not.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it brings in a little more healing.
Right. Or it may show community and
so
energy.
I'm gonna try not to. I really didn't want to. I didn't want to miss tonight, but I did. I just felt it was important that I talked to you too.
Yeah.
Because this is all therapy for me. I think this next couple of shows is going to be.
And I'm sorry, but you know what?
Therapy for everybody. So.
It's never too soon to talk about it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I had a really hard time with the World Trade Center. I couldn't I couldn't watch any news about it or hear any stories about it. I still have a hard time. I could never watch that Flight 93 movie because they were a symbol to me my whole youth. I mean, I've been on top of those towers.
Where were you?
8 or 10 times.
Where were you?
Actually, we were back here. We just gotten back from Connecticut.
Oh, got you.
Exactly. exactly 1 month to the day, August 11th, we left on a cruise for my parents' anniversary, 50th.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a picture of the towers as we were cruising out of New York Harbor.
Wow.
1 month to the day.
Wow, 1 month to the day. I remember coming home from my fishing trip in September. That night, September 10th, and waking up to
Yeah.
that, because I wake up to the news every morning.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know how you feel.
Yeah.
I know how I didn't. It was so traumatic to me that it had to have been 3 or 4 years before I could even look at satellite photographs of it.
Right.
Yeah, because the industry I was in, they took a lot of pictures of that from satellites, and my customers printed them. I still have one. I have an 8x8 that you put a microscope on, and you can see the helmets on the firemen down there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it's like that. I know how you feel it. It's an emptiness. It's like I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
I don't want that feeling. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, it's going to be weird what happens next year
Yeah.
when it comes around. If it, if they're going to go forward with that. I mean, I well expect them to do it. So,
I think they should do it. I think that they may even, have some special dedications or something to.
Sure, that's probably the appropriate thing to do. So,
yeah.
So anyway, back to what you were saying about, it's devastating. And I urge everybody out there to, like you said, it's never too soon to start talking. There's plenty of places to go. You can go here in Gilroy or Morgan Hill. You can go to Community Solutions, and they have opened up their counseling centers for you to go get help. So that's communitysolutions.org, I believe, is the website. Also, the Veterans Administration is down here in front of Veterans Hall, and they're taking in anybody who wants to come in and talk. And if you just look, on your Facebook site or in your newspaper or any place, there's dozens of places right now that are giving you great not advice, but an ear to talk to. And I'm lucky that I've got enough friends and understanding people around that'll listen to me, and you guys have proven yourselves that you guys are great listeners. So I want to thank you guys for, if you just listen for 10 minutes, that was, or even if you just listen to it for a minute.
Or just listen 1 minute, skip 10 minutes, listen 1 minute, skip, just do that 6 times. You get enough.
Exactly. But I can't stress enough that no matter where you were when you went through this, you were affected. And if you weren't affected, then you need to check your heartbeat, because
don't be afraid to talk.
Yeah.
If you have feelings about it, you should express them. And if anybody has a problem with that, find somebody else to talk to. That's all. Yeah. Don't get discouraged.
Right. Don't get discouraged. Just move on to the next. Like I said, I've been dealing with some things at work, and just, generally, I've been keeping away from people. We got a gig, the Weathered Souls band, my band, me and Eddie, Big Ed's band, and Tom, Mr. Drake. We got a gig this weekend over at 1,000 Trails, and it's been one of those things where this happened, and now I'm just going like,
not in the mood for practicing.
I'm just not in the mood for practicing.
Yeah.
Not in the mood for this. I got another show in 2 weeks coming on, which is the show for St. Joseph's Family Center. And that one, is the open mic. I don't have a lot of participation in that, but you can go to Eventbrite, and it just takes it hits you in the gut, man. It takes the wind out of you. I'm trying to get the wind back. But I think today at work, I remember snapping at Lewis once, my boss Lewis. I snapped at him once. I'm going like, dude, you got to give me a break. And he's all like, And even the big boss said, yeah, you know what, you need to give him a break.
Yeah. Sorry, my tolerance is a little bit low today. Okay, so don't push it.
Don't push it. And but we got busy. So I mean, that was one of the big things we landed.
Yeah, that's another thing
we
too.
landed a couple of good contracts and stuff, and now I'm busy, and I got my mind back into work, and you know what,
getting immersed in work or gardening or whatever.
It doesn't mean that I'm forgetting about things, because it's still on my mind, and I still think about all those people, and I'm always here to help people out too. I mean, that just as much as
he's always here.
I'm always here. I'm always here. Give the shirt off my back if you need it, man. I don't care. But yeah, so yeah, just keep busy. I mean, that's that. Those are the only things, the advice that I can give people. But I think the best advice is to go talk to somebody, because you got to talk, man.
Yeah.
That's the basic,
unless you're one of those people that can talk to themselves and then feel better about it afterwards
it's
too.
a basic form of communication that we're losing.
Yeah.
I mean, I hated to be able to text to my daughter instead of call my daughter, or text anybody for that matter. Yeah, I would rather talk to him. I mean, I text you every once in a while, but more often than not, I
usually
hop on
text
the
me to
phone.
tell me what you're about to call me.
Yeah,
about.
I'm about to call you, dude. But conversation is a lost art, and I think as I want to pat myself on the back, but as good as a writer and an opinion essay writer that I've gotten into since I've been on Facebook, I've seen myself lose the art of being able to converse back and forth. So one of the reasons why I started this podcast is because that's what I wanted to do. I want to make sure that I didn't lose that language skill to be able to speak and not be nervous in front of a lot of people, and be able, just if you speak a lot, then you can speak well. Now, sometimes I slur my words and I have too many longboards, but I like to think that I can bring a debate. I like to think I can bring an opinion that's worth something, and I think I can bring the facts and the truth behind it, and that's what I'm all about. And man, I just had to be able to do this. It was one of the things that had to be done. I can't stress that enough, man.
Well, it had to be done.
Go out and talk to somebody.
It was either we were going to do this or we weren't going to have a show tonight.
Right.
I mean, what else are we going to? I mean, there's lots of things we can talk about. President's an asshole. Congress is an asshole. Supreme Court's are asshole.
We're going to be able to talk.
We could be doing that all
the time, all the time,
exactly.
all
Any
the
day.
time. It's always
Any
there.
day.
It's always there.
So, this is a hopefully a once in a lifetime occurrence.
Let's hope that it doesn't become a habit. Okay.
Fuck.
Let's please hope it doesn't become a habit. So we got Blue House tomorrow night at the Milius. Actually,
Really?
It's Saturday night. Let me see. When is August 3rd? That is.
Today's the 1st, so that'd be Saturday. Yes.
That'd be Saturday night. So Saturday night, Blue House is going to be at the Milius in Gilroy. So if you're feeling good and you're feeling like going out to get a good bite to eat and you want to hear Rock It Out because they're great, go see Blue House at the Milius.
It's not all girls.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. Brian's not a girl.
Just a really good guitar player.
He's a really good guitar player. So nothing wrong with that. Also, Close to Chance has Ladies Night Out. That's Friday, August 16th, coming up with Johnny Neri Band. We got all kinds of situations going on here. I think that life is going to go on this weekend. I think it's going to be a somber mood at any event that you're at, but just remember that Gilroy's strong. And man, that's such a cliche. I was kind of sad to see it come out. Actually, I mean,
hashtag Gilroy strong.
Gilroy strong. I mean, but we are strong. I mean, we're a close knit community. I've been here for 10 years, and I feel like I'm a very vital part of this community.
You know what?
And most of the people, I think, in this community, even though it's a bedroom community, we really do stick together.
Yeah. This hashtag your town name strong is becoming too fucking common.
Yeah. We don't want it to become a habit. We don't want it to be another hashtag any city. I mean, that's kind of where we want to be. We don't want to see black armbands. We don't want to see cops down the street. We don't want to see 5 counties of law enforcement going to a scene of another horrific tragedy, and unfortunately, somebody said on one of the news shows that maybe this is the new normal. Well, I don't want this to be the new normal, because this sucks as the new normal.
Well, it's almost like a vice.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and if you saw a friend that was drinking himself to death, you might say something about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's almost like as if now it's most eh, becoming more and more urgent for the community to try to, you know, it's so easy to say seek out and help these people, but to do things that will keep people from feeling so isolated and so much hate.
Yeah. That's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's tough to deal with.
Yeah.
I know some people that are like that, and they're just never going to come out of their shell, and they're never going to be able to forgive the hate because they see those hate in other people that they either know or don't know. You know, because there's a lot of people in this city that are hurting, man. They're never going to look out for help. They're tucked up in their house and they don't want to come out anymore. And they didn't want to come out before. And then they don't want to come out at all. That's sad, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's a sad way of living.
It is.
I mean, I'm too sociable for that.
Right.
Like I said, I apologize for a lot of the things I've been doing lately. But I mean, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I could never, ever totally isolate myself from people, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. You know, it's just...
having opinions doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's an idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any mass. It doesn't have any matter. It's an idea.
Yeah.
It's not an action.
Yeah, we got to start thinking about that, you know, with people, because, you know, it doesn't, because every time somebody gets really pissed off about it, something like this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody shoots up a place.
Yeah.
Somebody freaking throws a pipe bomb. Somebody runs, you know, through a freaking crowd of people with a car or truck or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That shit happens, man.
Yeah.
And gotta stop it, dude.
Right. And it's not, you know, like I said, there's certain types of guns that have, you know, it's just like drugs. Okay, you got different schedules of drugs. You know, the top schedule is the drug that has absolutely no good medical use, nothing good for it except getting you stoned. Okay, right. So there's guns at that level, right? And then you got the next ones, which are, you know, kind of in between ones that maybe have some good use, but, you know, maybe don't. And then there's the ones that have a good use.
Yes.
And that's what we should be focusing on.
Yes. And I think we should be focusing on trying to get everybody out of the way and get freaking Congress back to work and our state assemblies back to work, instead of fighting this inner party war that they're having with each other.
Yeah,
because it's happening everywhere. Yeah. I mean, that,
right.
And until we get our representative going back to work for us, then we're never going to have a government that we can control and make smaller, or whichever way you want it. Let's just say it that way, because I'm for, you know, whatever you want, that's fine. I want small government. You want big government. Well, I don't care. Just, you know,
I want a government that works for me.
I want a government that works for me
and works for you,
and works for everybody,
and works
exactly.
for the farmer down the road,
and works for the farmer down the road. Yeah, for everybody, because everybody deserves to be represented in this United States. Right. I mean, that goes for everybody, and I think that in this day and age, we just forgot that. And it's gone.
Well, too many people have been lulled into thinking if it's good for the corporation, it's good for you, which is not true. Sorry.
Yeah. That's a heavy one. Because everybody's still corporate.
Yeah.
I mean, the corporation, you can talk about a lot of things. We're just not talking about capitalism in a company. We're talking about a corporation of people that think that. That's culture. And then where do we lose it when we evolve? When
the corporation gives up things like the well-being of the next generation in order to make a few more dollars today, that's where we lose it.
Yeah, well, that's where we've been losing that battle for
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, decades. You know, we keep selling out our kids, man.
Yeah.
And our kids are going to sell out their kids. Their kids are going to sell out their
bastards.
Kids. Oh, bastards. Taught them right? It's absolutely disgusting what we've done to our kids, man. And well, you're going to have to see us on the other side, because that music means that we're out of time today. And hey, I want to thank you guys for listening in. Dougie, say good night. We're going to go on the other side and do a little extra content. And you've got Bruce and Dougie. And this is the Weathered Soul Podcast. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.